Welcome back, friends. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. I thought I would do a video this morning, a short video this morning, on the humble Wald basket. The 137 basket in particular. Before I do that, thanks as always for the likes and comments. I really appreciate it, and it does help the videos and how they show up and who sees them. Obviously, you can have a big effect on that by sharing the video with your friends. I appreciate that as well. I'll have some links down in the description for the stuff that I'm talking about today. Obviously, most of the bike-related stuff that I talk to can be found on my website, which is thepsychicderailer.com. So the Wald 137 basket. I'm sure that the people at Wald were taken possibly aback and quite by surprise when this basket that they had been making for 100 years all of a sudden started selling in great numbers again. And I have, no reason to doubt that it isn't selling in great numbers. I started messing around with Wald baskets after I started messing around with Rivendell's. The Rivendell posts and Rivendell newsletters were the first thing that kind of clued me into the way that they attached baskets to front racks. So the 137 is generally comes in chrome plate or black, and they generally had legs and hardware attached because you would attach them to your handlebar, and then the legs would run down, and you would either use like a lower rack or fender eyelet, or sometimes if you used a nutted axle, the legs had holes in them, and you just pulled the axle nuts off and fitted the holes in the legs over the axle and put the axle nuts back on, and away you went. So to fit these on front racks, the hardware really needs to be removed. I mean, I suppose you can get along without removing the hardware, but it kind of looks bad, and the hardware kind of gets in the way. So we would go through all kinds of, cussing and swearing to try to get the hardware off. And what I've been doing for the last, couple of years, I guess, is I've just been buying the baskets without hardware, which is a little bit more complicated than just buying it from a distributor with the hardware attached, but it's a lot easier in the long run. So I just get it without the hardware. It's always seemed a little ridiculous to me that we take, generally what we'll do is we'll attach this to some sort of Nito rack, an M18 rack, or a Marks rack, or the new Obento rack from Simworks, which is also made by Nito. And it always struck me as kind of ridiculous that we take, what is in essence a $25 or $26 wire basket and zip tie it to a $130 to $150 front rack. But we do, and it works. And then there's obviously a plethora of bags that are now purpose built to go inside this basket. And I will say that they do a bigger version of this that's the 139, and people make bags for that as well. I've tried running 139 baskets on my bikes, and if you're lucky enough to live in an area where you don't have to drive, or I guess moreover, you don't have to transport your bike with another bike on the back of a vehicle on a bike rack, then you can run those 139 baskets without issue. Where I had a problem was trying to fit my bike next to another bike on the back of a car. That 139 basket's just way too wide, and it just didn't work. So that's really kind of why I don't stock the 139 basket. So yeah, it is the handiest thing. I've had people look at me out of the side of their head when I have recommended putting a basket on the front of their bike. And, you know, eventually they usually relent, and then they come back and say, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. It's just having stuff that close at hand while keeping your handlebar free. Yeah, it's a game changer. You know, many people say that you should have at least one bike with a basket on it. You know, I would say that every bike should have a basket on it. I think I've got usually 3 or 4 bikes kind of running at the same time, and every one of those bikes has a basket. So, obviously you can buy these on my website. People do. The black one, for whatever reason, is I think that's the highest, the most, you know, as far as number of units, I've probably sold more black baskets without hardware than anything else, which kind of blows my mind. The other thing I'm doing is I've had some of these powder coated. So if you want a color, I don't know how well this is going to show up, but this is, it's not quite Park Tool Blue, if you know what that is, but pretty close. And then I've got a safety yellow and what they call pine green, which is kind of like a British racing green, only a little flatter. And those colors will kind of come in and out, and like in the next week or so, I should have some orange ones, some bright orange ones. That's about it. Stuff, you know, if I think about the stuff I really, really like, the Wald 137 basket is definitely high on the list. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, I appreciate if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Comments are good. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it. And, yeah, thanks for watching. Till next time, be nice, work hard, ride bikes, play music when you can. I'll talk to you soon. So I need to drop this in at the end because I forgot to do it during the video. There was an issue last year where people were taking racks, Nito racks specifically, mounting baskets to them, overloading them, breaking the racks, and then attempting to claim warranty through Nito. Nito took this very seriously. I think in their minds, they don't want you zip tying baskets to any of their racks unless they were designed with that purpose in mind. I think Rivendell now has a basket that Nito says is okay to attach a basket to. I'm not under any illusion that you guys are going to stop attaching baskets to racks. That genie's out of the bottle, and I don't think anybody's putting it back in. However, I list Nito's weight limits as far as what they think the rack can take on the product pages. So here's what I'm going to say. You need to follow those guidelines. And if you don't, and the rack breaks, okay, savvy? So that's it. It's a kind of an important bit that I should have added into the video and didn't. So pay attention to the tolerances on these racks, okay? And we'll all have fun.